Then I'll start the session. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Mannado Sri Jagannada Madguru Sri Jagadguru Mamatma Sarva Bhutatma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tat Padam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. The only guru of three religions, Traitatiram originator, sensational writer, Hindu virtue donor, the author of more than 100 divine holy scriptures, Sri 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 Acharya Prabodhananda Yogishwarlu. So, we are continuing about the introduction of Bhagavad Gita as part of that. So, last time we went through the information about how the Bhagavad Gita should be started from the words of God instead of the Arjuna's sorrow. Due to the interpreters and their explanations, they started explaining Bhagavad Gita from Arjuna Vishada Yogam itself. What it made, some of the people thought that Arjuna got the sorrow, Lord Krishna told him the wisdom to eliminate the sorrow itself. But they are not thinking that this whole wisdom is for every creature. And some of the people who are reading the Bhagavad Gita, they are just reciting it but not knowing the internal matters inside the Bhagavad Gita. So they are not thinking what is the inner meaning in that. So what Swami did, one day Swami went to a person who is reciting the Bhagavad Gita slokas very well. Swami asked him that, so you are reciting slokas very well, do you know the meaning of that? Then that person told that we don't care the meaning of that. We thought that it's good to recite the slokas. Then Swami asked that if you know the meaning of that, it's well and good. Otherwise, if you just recite the slokas, what is the use? Then the person said that, so what is the use of knowing what Lord Krishna taught to Arjuna? It's not for us, it's for just Arjuna. What he told to Arjuna, that should be taken care by Arjuna itself, but not for us. And also, he warned that you should not ask why this is, why that is. So, like this, many people started reading and also starting reading about Bhagavad Gita from Arjuna Vishada Yogam, which is the first chapter. So, after understanding the first chapter itself, they are coming to a conclusion that this entire wisdom is only taught to Arjuna. Then they are going away from knowing the inner meaning of the Bhagavad Gita itself. So, Swami, what he did, so he wanted to bring the people go forward knowing the great wisdom and true notion of the Lord Krishna. Then he wrote the Bhagavad Gita from the point where Lord Krishna started telling the wisdom. That's what the actual doctor started treating the patient when patient explained everything of his symptoms of the disease. So the treatment is what doctor gives is important. The same way what the teachings of the Lord Krishna, that is the real Bhagavad Gita. So when it is done, then there will be a meaningful uh, there it comes a real meaning for the Bhagavad Gita when it contains the complete uh, wisdom of Lord Krishna itself. There are some people, they not only put their focus on the reciting Bhagavad Gita, but also they would like to see what is there inside Bhagavad Gita. Among them, some of the people, they really wants to know the true notion from Bhagavad Gita. Some people, when they think that way and they try to understand it, but they fail to understand, and they are left with so many doubts from that. And also, they will have doubts and they will have the statements, they will see the statements like controversies among them, and they fail to understand the matters. So they think that, oh, this Gita might be explained to Arjuna by Lord Krishna to make Arjuna to encourage him to go for a battle in the battlefield. And also, they think that if we theoretically it's not provable thing, not only that, it's not a doctrine itself. Then Swami understood that, and the people, some of the people who try to learn about the truthness from the Bhagavad Gita. So when he came to know that there are some people who also think like that, then Swami uh, said that Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavad Gita talks about the righteousness, and it's a bound to the science, scientifically bounded one. Uh, when it is scientifically bounded and it's a science, how come you guys are telling that it's not a doctrine at all? Then those kind of people answer that, do you know what is there in Bhagavad Gita? This is suitable to the people who are blind enough. They can read it. If if I read with the if I read thinking that to know the real meaning from it, then it's not going to be suitable for us, because at one place it says that the immortal soul cannot be known to the organs. Another place it says that Om is the God. So in that case, how come the immortal soul or soul at one place uh, is visible and in another place is not uh, invisible. Like when soul is invisible, how come it's a visible worm? And at one place he says that nature is doing everything, and at one place he says, I am not doing anything, just watching it, and I am witnessing everything. And at one place he says, I am doing everything. I am making you, uh, I am playing you all. Is it a righteousness? Is it a doctrine? He explained it. And also he says that at one place I created the caste system. Those are higher caste, lower caste, something like that. Is it a divinity there? And at one place he says that because of the emotions all the actions are happening. And at one place he says you have to eliminate your emotions. And at one place he says if you eliminate emotions and do the task, it is called tamasa. And at one place he says you should not stop doing the works. At one place he says you must see equally the dog, elephant, and the dog eater. And at one place he says he is your enemy, you kill him. At one place he says soul cannot be killed. At one place he says I am the time, I am the one who destroy everything. Like that there are so many places, so many words in Bhagavad Gita. So they are not understandable. Everywhere it's a controversy. That's why I say that the one who recites it is suitable for them, but it's not suitable for me, who is actually looking for the real notion of Bhagavad Gita. So Swami explains here, he says that, so there is a truth. The one who is actually looking for the true notion, there is a chance of getting many doubts. Though we should not say it is unscientific, we should not say it is not a doctrine. There might be problem the people who translated this Bhagavad Gita into the language which we are learning. Because of that, some people might have got the doubts. In fact, so far nobody could understand what Lord Krishna taught to Bhagavad Gita. So, because to understand Bhagavad Gita, you must follow 4 principles. And also the interpreters must write with 4 principles. When they interpret the Bhagavad Gita with 4 principles in their mind, then only the Bhagavad Gita can be understood. If not, there will be always doubts for the person who is reading the Bhagavad Gita. So because of that, the summary of the Bhagavad Gita nobody could understand. So when we tell these things, some people may get angry over me. Even they may scold me. But I don't care about that, because I want the Bhagavad Gita should be very clean and everybody should be able to understand properly without any doubt. So let us know what are the 4 important principles to know Bhagavad Gita. First one, when you are reading a Bhagavad Gita, you should know whether this sloka is taught for mortal soul or immortal soul or absolute soul or to the nature. The second principle is the sloka which you are reading should belongs to Brahma Yoga or Karma Yoga for what? And the third principle is the slokam which you are reading is for the God with form or the formless God. And the fourth one is the slokam which you are reading is scientifically bound or not. If you don't read Bhagavad Gita with these four principles, then Bhagavad Gita may become like a decorative thing but may not become explanative one. So far, so many people interpreted Bhagavad Gita, but nobody could follow these four principles and gave the interpretation to Bhagavad Gita. That is why there are so many doubts remained while reading the Bhagavad Gita. In order to get a Bhagavad Gita which will make you understand very well, it should follow the four principles which we explained above. When you apply the four principles, then you can bring out all the unscientific and the fabricated slokams from Bhagavad Gita. Whichever the slokas are against the Bhagavan will be removed when we apply the four principles on Bhagavad Gita. Since whatever Bhagavan taught is completely scientifically bounded one, so when we bring out Bhagavad Gita which is scientifically proven bounded one, then we will not have any doubts on that. So whenever the sloka whichever you are reading is not bound to the four principles above we explained, then we can say that this slokam is not related to Bhagavad Gita at all. Let us see if these four principles are related to Gita Mahatyam or Bhagavad Gita. Many days ago or long ago, some of the elderly people they wanted to do good for the society. So they made some arrangements in the society. They wrote some books in the form of Gita Mahatyam or mythologies. They thought that may help the people who are going in the wrong direction in the society. But in fact, what the result they gave, the results they gave were wrong completely. For example, they wrote about Yamalokam. Yamalokam means hell, we can say. And they said that hell is there somewhere else, and the people who earn so many sins in their life, they are listed in a list of book, and when the person dies, he will go to the hell over there. There the king of the hell is Yama, and the assistant of him is Chitragupta. Chitragupta will be reading the sins of the person, and Yama will be punishing that person based on the sin what he earned on the earth. And they wrote so many fearful punishments what the person is going to get in the hell when they do the bad deeds on the earth. But in fact, it gave the reverse results, and the people, they are not fearful doing the sinful deeds. But the elderly people, they thought that by writing this, people may fear to do the sinful deeds, but it did not happen. Whatever they expected, that did not happen. And people did not even have the fearness in their mind at all. Even even they think that this is the bad deed, but they think that right now it is favorable to me, it's convenient to me, let sin happen to me. When I go to the hell, then only they are going to punish me, right? So the hell thing is very far away. Why should I lose this opportunity now in front of me? That way they are thinking, and they are not at all hesitating to do the sinful deeds. So that's what the people nowadays, they are thinking that the Yamalokam or the hell, it's a baseless thing, and there is nothing like hell or something, and without any fearness in their mind, they are doing so many sinful deeds on the earth itself. If the elderly people uh, could explain hell, that hell is on the earth itself. So every day, whatever many people are undergoing, many punishments, there are so many accidents, many people are crying, many people are facing so many hardships, difficulties, many things on the earth itself. So these are because of the karma you earned in the past birth. So hell is here itself. Hell is nowhere far away. If like that, if the elderly people could have explained in this way, then at least people would have understood that, oh, see, because of the cruel or bad deeds or bad sins we earned in the last birth, that's how we are facing these hardships and difficulties in this life. So then they would understand, at least then they will they so they will get fear to do the sinful deeds. So that is one example we explain now here itself. So let us talk about the Gita Mahatyam, what it did to the people, and how the Gita Mahatyam made the people deviating from learning the actual Bhagavad Gita. Some of the elderly people, what they thought that they thought that everybody should read Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, to make them uh, more devotional towards reading the Bhagavad Gita and knowing about the Bhagavan. They announced Gita Mahatyam. But Gita Mahatyam, they wrote in such a way that by reading this verse, you are going to get this kind of result in your daily life. Then people started reading Gita Mahatyam, and their focus is on the results what they are going to get. So because of that, they left all the matters actually from Gita itself, because of the Gita Mahatyam. And people are wanting more and more the results which are explained in Gita Mahatyam. And they are not able to see the righteousness announced by Bhagavan from the Bhagavad Gita itself. Whatever the elderly people expected, that's the aim, the objective was gone completely, and people completely deviated from the righteousness things. Because the Gita Mahatyam, which tells controversial things and which is against the Bhagavad Gita, and there are so many statements which are against the righteousness or dharmas taught in Bhagavad Gita. So we need to know about Gita Mahatyam at least something, so that we can understand what is Gita Mahatyam. So it's a very strange thing that whatever the motive of Lord Krishna to teach Bhagavad Gita, the Gita Mahatyam completely goes against what Lord Krishna taught. In Gita, there are dharmas taught by Lord Krishna, but in Gita Mahatyam, there are so many statements which are against the dharmas interpreted in Gita Mahatyam. That's why it deviates so many people from Bhagavad Gita itself. There are some people who know some knowledge, they are also not even thinking that Gita Mahatyam is against the Bhagavad Gita, but they are reciting it every day. It's a very strange thing, right? Of course, some people might get angry over me, but as a reader, as you are studying the Bhagavad Gita, you must think about that. Because one day when Jesus Christ taught the truth about the Lord, about the God, he taught divine wisdom. The people who claimed themselves that they were the knowers of the wisdom, and they scolded Jesus Christ, and they crucified him, they killed him. But after some time, when the people really looked into the wisdom, whatever Jesus Christ taught, then the people started following them. You can see how popular his wisdom became nowadays. Some billions of people are knowing about it. In the same way, who revealed the astronomical secrets? We know very well that Galileo, who revealed many astronomical secrets, that time the knowers of the wisdom, they created so many problems and hurdles and brought many difficulties for Galileo, and they did so much punishment to him. But now, whatever the principles provided by Galileo became the much more base for the astrological scientists nowadays. So if some people who pose that they are the knowers of the wisdom, even if they say this is false, as a reader, you should think about that. Don't go fast. Don't simply follow them whatever they say. Just wait. Just read it. Understand it. Then you come to the conclusion. Don't blindly follow the people who say it is false. So then only you will come to know the truth from it. So according to the four principles, what Swami announced, if you take the fourth principle, that whether this sloka which we are reading is scientifically bound or not, then we can directly declare that Gita Mahatyam is not bound to the science. It's not scientifically bounded. Gita is the Yoga Shastram. That means it talks about the unification with the God. It's purely the science, the big education, the super science. Gita Mahatyam, we can call it as Varaha Puranam, or the mythology name is Varaha. That is the noticeable thing you need to know. So there is a lot more difference between shastras, that means sciences, and the mythologies. Gita is a super science, big education, or Brahma Vidya. It will learn you how to get liberation, and it makes you not to get birth again. When you read the Gita Mahatyam, in Gita Mahatyam, they say that as long as this world exists, you will have the births again and again, which is completely against the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is to destroy your karma and not you to make rebirth again, and its objective is to give the liberation and not to make you born again and again in this world filled with the sorrow. So it will completely liberate, and you will be liberated from this nature. As long as you got the karma, you should take birth and experience the karma. It's like a cycle. So in order to break that cycle and get liberation, Bhagavad Gita is the one which will explain you how to liberate. In Gita Mahatyam, in the 13th sloka, they wrote that if you read a chapter every day, then until Manvantaram, that means until millions and billions of the years, you will get the human birth. So, which is completely wrong according to the Bhagavad Gita. So, Gita Mahatyam is always against the Bhagavad Gita. There are some people who involve in doing the sinful deeds in their everyday life, and they come back to their home in the evening and they read Bhagavad Gita or listen to the Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because in Gita Mahatyam 18th sloka, they wrote that if you read Bhagavad Gita every day, then whatever the sinful deeds you did, that will vanish, and the sinful deeds will turn back into the merit or punyam. So that's why the people, they wanted to convert their sins into the merits. That's why there are the people who are reading the Bhagavad Gita. But actually, it's not true. Whatever the sin you earn, whatever the merit you earn, everything you should experience it. So, God nowhere He told that your sin will convert into merit by reading this or that, something like that. And the people, they are habituated to just reading the Bhagavad Gita but not going in depth and knowing the actual meaning from the Bhagavad Gita. So when we say that you should follow according to the Bhagavad Gita what was told by Lord Krishna in that. Then they say that we don't need that and it's not possible for us. Then instead of that, it's better to reading the Gita Mahatyam and following what they said in the Gita Mahatyam, because in the Gita Mahatyam they told that so we can convert the sin into the merit. So it's just easy for us. That's what they tell to us. So when Bhagavad Gita says that you go beyond the sin and merit, that's papam and punyam, get liberation, but Gita Mahatyam says you convert your sins into the merits or punyam. In fact, what happens in reality is whenever you earn sin or merits, all that will go into the wheel of karma, that is treated as the accumulated karma, and that from that accumulated karma, some part of the karma will become initiative karma. You need to experience that initiative karma. As now we are experiencing our initiative karma, which was earned by us in the previous birth. So, if they think that by listening to the Gita or reading Gita, just reading the Gita, if the sin turns into punyam, then it becomes like just a fake thing. It's not truth at all. It's completely false. Because nowhere written in Bhagavad Gita like that. So one day Swami questioned a person. So he had a good discussion with that person. He asked that person that, so you are very near to the temple. There is a better chance for you. You can go to the temple and listen to Bhagavad Gita, and you can even recite the Bhagavad Gita. Why are you not doing that? Then that guy told Swami that I am not doing any sinful deeds. If I do any sinful deeds, then I can, then to make them, to turn them as merits, I need to listen to that. So that's only for the people who do sinful deeds. I am doing all the things which gives me merits. I don't do any sinful deeds. So why should I listen to that? That he explained. That he gave. So that answer he told to Swami. Then Swami asked why you are saying like that. Then he told that, so it's written in Gita Mahatyam that you don't know this small piece of information. That way he answered Swami. Then Swami said that Gita Mahatyam is not important, Gita is important. Then that guy laughed a lot. He laughed loud and said, if you see 20th slokam in Gita Mahatyam, there they wrote that even if you read Bhagavad Gita, if you don't read Gita Mahatyam, there is no use at all. So, Gita Mahatyam is much more important than Bhagavad Gita. That guy answered that way. So, this way, many people are following according to the Gita Mahatyam, whatever they told, whatever they interpreted over there. Like that Swami, again he met with a person who thinking that he might know some matters from the Bhagavad Gita, because that guy was reading Bhagavad Gita every day. Then that guy explained that even though I read Bhagavad Gita, so what is the use for me knowing the matters from that? Then Swami asked him, If you don't need any matters from that, why are you reading? Then he said, to get the liberation. Then Swami told him that you must know about the liberation first, and in order to get the liberation, you should know dharmas or righteousness taught in the Bhagavad Gita. Then that guy answered that your answer seems to me like uh, digging a digging a hill and catching a mice kind of thing. Why are you going in such a long way and taking so much strain for that? We are already in the liberation itself while we are living, he said. Then Swami asked, is it while is it possible while we are living we are getting the liberation? Then that guy explained that, didn't you read Gita Mahatyam, 19th sloka? So, when you read Gita and the meaning of Gita, then while you are with the body itself, you will get liberation. That's what told in Gita Mahatyam. That's why every day I am reading Gita slokas and its meaning. So I am already in the liberation, that guy said. Then Swami said, no, 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 it's not that way. You understood completely different. So the absolute soul, the Paramatma, who is omnipresent, we need to merge with him when we leave the body. So then only it is called liberation. Then that guy gave an answer that you don't agree the Gita Mahatyam which was taught by Vishnu itself. Don't you understand? Don't you accept what Vishnu said? Oh, you don't know anything. Go away. That way he answered with angry. Like that, many people are accepting the words, accepting the things from Gita Mahatyam. So they are just reading Bhagavad Gita sloka and meaning. They are not going in depth and understanding Bhagavad Gita. So for all these, the main culprit is Gita Mahatyam. So, in fact, the people, the elderly people, their intention was not to deviate the people from reading the Bhagavad Gita, but unfortunately, the people understood in a wrong direction, and they are going in a separated path instead of knowing the true wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. And also, the elderly people, they mentioned that if you read Bhagavad Gita slokas, you will fulfill your wishes in the external worldly related matters. And also they created a slokam like a mantra, and they told that by reciting this slokam like a mantra, and you are going to achieve this task, and your wish is going to fulfill by reciting this sloka. In order to come out of your disease, you need to recite this slokam, and to get out of from the court case, you need to recite this slokam, and you need to recite this slokam in order to get the children, and you need to recite this slokam in order to get the more assets and money. Like that, they wrote in the Gita Mahatyam. When Swami told to the people that Gita is not for fulfilling your worldly related tasks, it's for knowing the wisdom and following it, then people said that The Gita wisdom was taught to Arjuna but not for us. When Swami says that not only just for Arjuna, it's for all the people, we must know the wisdom from Bhagavad Gita, and because of that, so by following the wisdom, we will get the liberation. Then people, then people say that, oh, is it so? Then the elderly people did not say that because of this liberation, you will get liberation. They said completely to us that by reciting this shloka, your task is going to be fulfilled, like that. And also they wrote that by reading this chapter, you will get this result. So I got a court case now. I need to recite this slokam every day in order to get out of the court case and to get the good result from the verdict. Like that, people reading much more the Gita Mahatyam, and they are far away from the Bhagavad Gita and its true notion. Many people who came to know that they some miracles happen by reading the Gita Mahatyam and also reading the verses and reciting the verses. They started worshipping the scripture itself, but they are not coming close to the wisdom taught in Bhagavad Gita. So from now onwards, whoever wants to read the Bhagavad Gita, don't think that this wisdom was taught to Arjuna only by Lord Krishna. You need to think that this wisdom taught for us, and also put more focus on knowing the true notion from that, and read it with more interest. And it's better to keep away the Gita Mahatyam and reading Bhagavad Gita and understanding it very well. And also should not read Bhagavad Gita according to the Gita Mahatyam, whatever they explained, that in order to come out from this kind of issue, you need to read Gita, something like that. You should read Bhagavad Gita so that we can get the liberation, we can get more wisdom from that. So you should read without putting any focus on the result. There is no relation between Gita and Gita Mahatyam, because Gita Mahatyam is not a science at all, it's just a mythology only. So like that, if we keep explaining about that, then we will come to know that Kurukshetram, where the battle happened, that Kurukshetram itself is a righteous field or Dharma Kshetram or not. Many people know, everybody know that why the battle happened, why the conflict between Kauravas and Pandavas happened in Mahabharatam. And many people know that just for the time pass purpose, they involved in the gambling, and then it started as a conflict between two families, and the battle happened in the Kurukshetram. In Kurukshetram, some people mentioned it as a field of righteousness. So there is a question that in reality, is that Kurukshetram a Dharma Kshetram or the field of righteousness? So we need to go in more detail in order to know whether that Kurukshetram is a real righteousness field or not. Let's know about this in the next session. If you have any questions, So you can comment over there. We'll end the session here and do Mangala Pradhana. Om Mangalam Gurudevaya Mahaniya Prabodhatmane Sarvaloka Sharanyaya Sadharupaya Mangalam. Prabodharpanam to everybody.